Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Today we will be covering Moonshot's Kimi K3 Open Frontier model shaking up the AI world, NVIDIA and Japan's massive push into physical AI and robotics, a nonprofit called Current AI trying to build a public option for AI infrastructure, and San Francisco ordering Apple and Google to purge nudify apps from their stores. Let's start with what some are calling the industry's second DeepSeek moment. Chinese AI company Moonshot released Kimi K3 this week, and it's turning heads for a few reasons. It's a 2.8 trillion parameter open model with native vision and a 1 million token context window, and Moonshot is promising to release the full model weights on July 27th. You can already use it through Kimi Work, Kimi Code, and the Kimi API. The really interesting part is what Moonshot claims K3 can actually do. The company says it handled kernel optimization, built a Triton-like compiler, produced chip design proof-of-concept work, and drove interactive research workflows. Moonshot is upfront that K3 still trails Claude Fable 5 and GPT 5.6 Sol, but says it beats other tested models across its suite. And the pricing is aggressive, which puts real pressure on closed US labs charging premium rates for frontier access. The reaction that captures the stakes best comes from OpenAI's strategic futures lead, Dean Ball, who called Kimi a very good model, but warned that if open-weight models from China become dominant, AI could shift towards something like state-provided digital infrastructure. That's a big deal, because it reframes the open weights debate from a technical preference into a question of who provides the foundational layer of the AI economy. One caveat worth mentioning. Moonshot's own limitations section warns that K3 can be overly proactive and unstable if agent harnesses mishandle its thinking history. So this isn't a drop-in replacement for production use yet. Now to Japan, where NVIDIA just unveiled what might be the clearest blueprint yet for what comes after chatbots. Jensen Huang spent mid-July in Tokyo announcing a national AI infrastructure project called Noetra, backed by Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. The system will run on 13,750 Vera CPUs and 27,500 Rubin GPUs, delivering 140 megawatts of capacity dedicated to multimodal foundation models for robots, digital twins, and factory systems. Huang's pitch was that Japan has, in his words, a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reinvent manufacturing. And he summed up the strategy with a clean line. The next frontier of AI is in the physical world. To back that up, NVIDIA also introduced Cosmos 3 Edge, a 4 billion parameter model designed to run on-device for vision reasoning and robot policy deployment on Jetson Thor hardware. Basically, this is the AI that lives inside the robot arm, not in a data center. The list of Japanese companies joining the Cosmos Coalition reads like a who's who of Japanese industry. Fanuc, Fujitsu, Hitachi, Kawasaki Heavy Industries, Kubota, NEC, SoftBank, Sony, and Yaskawa. What makes this consequential is that Japan is treating sovereign AI and industrial data as strategic assets, not just buying chips, but building an entire domestic stack for embodied AI. If it works, it becomes a template other countries will copy, and NVIDIA sits at the center of every one of those deployments. Next up, a very different vision of AI's future. TechCrunch profiled a nonprofit called Current AI, which is trying to build what it describes as a public option for AI infrastructure. The group says it already has over $400 million committed and is working to mobilize $2.5 billion over 5 years, with backing from the French government, the Ford Foundation, MacArthur Foundation, DeepMind, and Salesforce. CEO Aya Badir framed the mission in one memorable line, saying the goal is AI, like the World Wide Web, available to anyone for free. Instead of chasing frontier scale, Current AI is focused on languages, communities, and use cases the big labs largely ignore. Its India project, called Suno Sutra, is a pocket-sized offline AI device supporting 22 Indian languages. Other first cohort projects span Kenya, Lebanon, and the Brazilian Amazon, working on datasets, cultural archives, offline tools, and audit systems. The tension here is worth noting. Current AI is explicitly drawing a line between public interest multilingual AI and big tech's market expansion into those same regions. Whether a nonprofit can actually keep pace when frontier labs are spending tens of billions on training runs is an open question, but the funding is real, the partners are serious, and there's clearly an appetite for AI infrastructure that isn't controlled by a handful of California companies. Finally, San Francisco is taking direct aim at one of the ugliest corners of generative AI. City Attorney David Chu ordered Apple and Google to remove dozens of AI nudify apps from their stores, warning both companies could face civil penalties under California law. Apple said it removed 3 apps and is reviewing 4 others. Google said all 5 Play Store apps referenced in the city's letter had been suspended. The scale here is genuinely disturbing. The Tech Transparency Project's earlier investigation found that Apple and Google's own search and ad systems were surfacing apps capable of generating nude images from real photos, with those apps racking up 483 million downloads and more than $122 million in lifetime revenue. 31 of them were rated suitable for minors. Chu's office put it bluntly, saying Apple and Google are profiting off apps that exploit women and girls by generating non-consensual intimate imagery. The bigger shift is how regulators are treating the platforms themselves. App stores are no longer being viewed as neutral marketplaces, but as active gatekeepers with responsibility for what they distribute and monetize. That's a meaningful change, and it puts pressure on Apple and Google to build detection systems that go beyond written policy and actually catch these apps before they reach hundreds of millions of downloads.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.